Welcome back and good morning once again. If you're just joining, this is still Daybreak Africa. Well, today we're moving on to the discourse of the day, which is the recent ministerial appointments, which about 45 ministers have been assigned their portfolios and also inaugurated. And right now we'll be discussing this with Sam Olorunfemi, who's our political analyst. Good morning and welcome to Daybreak Africa.
Good morning, Fatimah. Good morning, Mike. Ezekiel, it's good to be here now. I was even expecting Boots to see Boots yesterday now the swearing in.
We were there. We were there.
Okay,
we were there. Maybe the camera didn't happen to capture us at the time.
Absolutely, I love that. Anyway, this ministerial appointment portfolio that has generated a lot of reactions from Nigerians.
Yes.
So, how would you react to this?
Well, Fatima, let's start from the issue of nomination, isn't it? For the first time since 1999, in fact, in the history of Nigeria, this first time we'll be having a large cabinet of 48 ministers, even though 3 are yet to be screened. Governor El-Rufai of Kaduna, former Governor El-Rufai of Kaduna State, Stella Okotite from Delta State, if I'm right, and one Daladi, due to the security reason. Although they were screened by the senator, but in the process of confirming their screening, we were told by the Senate President that due to security issue and petition, those three now, they were stepped down from being screened. And when you look at this, people have been talking about this large cabinet, that how will Mr. President manage this cabinet? And again, we've seen a lot of ministries now, unlike before, and again, you will see that the Ministry of Youth and Sports that will be having as a conjunction before, now they are being separated now. We have Ministry of Youth now, we stand on its own. We have Ministry of Sports now, we stand on its own. But quickly, let's look at what led to this issue of ministerial nominees. We know we have some states getting 3 nominees, we have some states getting 1 as well as 4. Now, when you look at the just concluded presidential election, you will see that Northwest gave President Tinubu 30.0% vote, that is kind of percent, followed by Southwest with 25.9%, followed by North Central with 20.0%, followed by Northeast with 13.5%, followed by South with 9.1%, then followed by Southeast with 1.5%. Now, look at the sharing formula now, according to this now. Southwest that gave President Tinubu 30.0%, they got 10 ministers now in this cabinet, 10 strong ministers. And when you look at the Northwest, they have the largest state. They have 7 states in Nigeria. Others 6, only the Southeast with just 5 states. Now, followed by Southwest. Southwest, we have 9 ministers now in this cabinet. 3 from Ogun State, 2 from Lagos State, then one now from the remaining state. Then when you go to the Northeast, we have 8 ministers. South, we have 7, and Southeast, we only have 5 ministers from that particular region. And again, something happened late to that swearing in. We saw the issue of changing the cabinet from a particular people and so on. No, before, our own from Ondo State Jojo was assigned with the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. But during the maybe few hours to the inauguration, we read the news that Mr. President will deploy some people and do economy. Now to redeploy, to reshuffle, it is within the prerogative of Mr. President. But what we've never seen before is that to reshuffle a cabinet before the swearing in of that particular cabinet. We saw it few hours to the inauguration yesterday, where Tudiodo was moved from Marine now to Interior. Boyega of former governor of Osun State was moved from Transportation now to Blue Marine. Then former person that was assigned to Ministry of Youth was now moved from that place to Niger Delta. And you will see that when Mr. President was announcing the portfolio in the first place, you see that Ministry of Niger Delta was missing, and he raised a lot of noise that does it mean that Mr. President will now try to do away with the Ministry of Niger Delta. And when you look at the Ministry of Niger Delta, in 2020, NDDC was established by former President Olusegun Obasanjo. But in 2008, late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua came up with that Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs. So since then, we've been having a Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs. But by and large, we are going to see a very large cabinet now. We're talking about, although 3 are yet to be sworn in due to security reason, but it's like that of Kaduna. I was trying to go and see what happened. former governor Rufai, I think he has stepped down now, that he's no more interested in becoming a minister. I guess he nominated another person from Kaduna. So we are still waiting for what will happen in Delta State and what will happen from that of state of Danladi now. But by and large, we're going to see.
I think Ezekiel Kaduna State is actually bringing up my question at this point.
Yes.
Now, with Rufai out of the ministerial list, are we expecting some sort of one's best friend turned bloody enemies at this point? Because we know the person of Rufai.
Exactly. And at this point, Ezekiel, I think we need to give kudos to Mr. President. No? If it happened to be before, we've seen some president that whether security report, whether JSS report, they will go ahead. You understand now, answering. But I think Mr. President a little bit has demonstrated what we call a democratic leadership example by saying, okay, because of security reason, you stepping down, then let me just give way. Let's allow him to decide. At the end of the day, former governor Rufai came out to say that he's no more interested, and you see that before, because when his name was surfaced and that of Wiki, people tried to dig down to a media report when Wiki and Rufai granted, when they were governors, that they will never take any appointment from this present administration. So at the end of the day, we could see that Rufai, due to the prayer that no, you once said that you won't be taking appointment from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that after your 8 years as governor of Kaduna State, that you go and retire. I think that one added to the prayer for him to say, okay, if that's what you guys are looking for,
but
just let me just.
The issue of Rufai stepping down is out of pain.
Yes.
Probably out of hurt. Probably he believed he felt betrayed, probably from the present administration, from president of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, don't forget, they were quite friends. If I use that word,
exactly.
He was very supportive. He was very vocal with his support.
In fact, he was the one. Former governor Rufai was the first person to say that President APC must zone their presidency down to the south. Yes. So it was the first person to come out to say that no, that Northern cannot retain that particular seat again after the 8 years of former President Muhammadu Buhari. So it was the first person to champion the cause that no, we have to zone this. In fact, there was a speculation that maybe it will be picked as a running mate to Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the period to the presidential election, but he said no, that he's not ready to serve anybody again. That he was once a minister. Don't forget, under former President he was the minister of SCT then, and from there, became the governor of Kaduna State. He served 2 times as the governor of Kaduna State. Now coming back to become a minister, it was like there's no more interest. So don't forget during the screening, Ezekiel, after the screening in the Senate, a particular senator, I can't guess the state now, he raised a kind of petition inside the brown envelope against Governor Rufai. I think that envelope, I think people came up with the issue of religious incitement by Governor Rufai recently before period to the governorship election. Kaduna said that it will fill the Muslim ticket and nothing will happen, knowing fully well that Kaduna is a sensitive state in Nigeria when it comes to religious issue, because when you look at the southern Kaduna, it happens to be dominated by Christians, and when you look at the genesis of a crisis in Kaduna, it happens to be a religious crisis in Kaduna. So for him coming up that particular time to utter that sensitive statement that is capable of turning Nigeria upside down, or that is capable of raising a religion war in Nigeria, in fact, it was being attacked by people that you ought not to have relieved this statement that you will feed a Muslim ticket and nothing will happen. I think that one piled up with your petition against former governor Rufai of Kaduna State, and at the end of the day, you see what happened when the Senate president was trying to confirm the ministerial nominees. It got to the point that former governor of Kaduna State Rufai as a ministerial nominee, his own will be stepped down as a result of maybe security petition and so on. So by that time, people were just speculating that maybe Mr. President will use his constitutional power now to override what. But what did we see at the end of the day? We saw that Mr. President did not even meddle into what happened, and then the former governor Rufai came out to say that he's no more interested in becoming the minister. With this
situation, do you see former governor Rufai really supporting this present administration with all that has happened so far?
Well, Ezekiel, he has no option. Then one thing that we need to
because at some point, you agree with me, he will feel sort of betrayed, the president will actually use his power to, make things happen, in quote.
Ezekiel, the question we should be asking here, that is the issue of security report against him petition, did it really come from the Mr. President? You understand where I'm going, so that it won't be feeling as if maybe Mr. President was behind what happened. But if you and I will be factual here, Ezekiel, let me come back to that one. If we will be factual here, you see that Mr. President has nothing to do, because if it comes from Mr. President, he will not nominate him in the first place, Ezekiel. No, he was nominated by Mr. President to come and become a minister. And when Governor El-Rufai, former Governor El-Rufai, when during the screening, he made mention that Mr. President called him that it should come and manage the power situation of Federal Republic of Nigeria. I heard that during the screening. In fact, after the screening, people took to social media that the next minister of power now will be former Governor of Kaftan State, El-Rufai. But at the end of the day, things pass out. You see now. Mr. President, so to me, I don't believe former Governor El-Rufai will have this notion that all things that pass out happens to be from the Mr. President. Because if you happen to be Mr. President in the first place, he will not nominate you to come and serve in his cabinet.
A little bit away from El-Rufai. I know I don't want us to be out of time before we out of talks. Away from El-Rufai to the person of a former governor Wike. Now, Wike being made the FCT minister.
Yes.
I'm trying to be gentle at this point. What are we to expect?
You see, it's not new. Let me trace our memory back to what happened when President Olusegun became the president in 1999. You know, in 1999, prior to the primary of PDP and AD then, late Chief Bola Ige, the former Attorney General of the Federation, contested AD presidential primary with Olufalaye, former secretary to the government of the Federation. Now, at the end of the day, Olufalaye got the ticket under AD. He contested against President Olusegun Obasanjo. In 1999, President Obasanjo won that election. After the election, President Obasanjo went to pick Bola Ige from AD to become the Minister of the Republic of Nigeria. The same thing that played out. Prior to the PDP presidential election, Wike and Atiku contested for the PDP presidential primaries. At the end of the day, Atiku won the ticket. You understand now? And we saw what happened. I think we discussed during the governorship election, we discussed about Wike and so on and so forth. You saw what played out, G5, moving from one place to another. And Wike did something that unprecedented since 1999. Since 1999, Ezekiel, opposition party has never clinched presidential election in Rivers State. It has been a PDP game since 1999. What do they see in the last presidential election? Wike delivered Rivers State to PDP. In fact, it got to a point we don't even know who are APC members in Rivers State. We know Wike played dual role, PDP and APC, and he told them that he will deliver Rivers to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He did it during the presidential election, and during the governorship election, he delivered the same state that he delivered to APC presidential election to PDP. So by that time, people were talking that it looks as Wike will get something in return of that particular presidential election. And you could see that during the G5, Wike was the chairman of G5 governors. You understand now? And after the election, when President Tinubu won the election as the president-elect, Wike was the first person in Nigeria to invite him to Rivers State as a president-elect, not president, to invite to come and commission project in Rivers State. So Wike have been doing a kind of political game and political drama. And at the end of the day, when President Tinubu was sworn to be as a president, we saw Wike and some G5 governors. They went to pay him a visit in Abuja again, and they went into closed door meeting. We don't know what transpired. At that particular time, I put up an article as a columnist that is Wike in Abuja for a payback reward. And at the end of the day, when Mr. President, when the list came out at the ministerial nominee, we saw the name of former governor of Rivers State. Then we're talking about maybe it will be the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs or Minister of Works. Those are the two things were on table. That is either Wike will be appointed or assigned as a Minister of Niger Delta.
So but now it's in Abuja now. Appointment is more like a reward system for him. I'm not really.
It is a reward system, whether we like it or not, because we saw what Wike did. Don't forget that during the swearing of President Bola Tinubu at the Eagle Scare, Wike was there. Yes, sir. So to me, it's a reward with competence. You can't tell me that Wike is not competent. Look at what he did in Rivers State. He transformed. I'm not here to campaign for Wike. He transformed Rivers State. Now it is time for Mr. President now to pay him back. Ezekiel, whether we like it or not, whether we sing it as song, whether we recite as a national anthem, whether we read it as Bible or Quran, in politics, when you are forming your cabinet, we have three things that played out. List from your political parties, people that worked for you during the presidential or governorship election. You have lists as a technocrat, those who are not politicians, that you know that no, they are core professionals in their field. You have them, and you have a reward pay system. for those who worked for you, whether within your party or outside your party. Do you want to tell me that Imakide did not work for Bola Tinubu? Don't forget, in 2015, Atiku won Oyo State. But in 2023, and yes, in 2015, in 2019, sorry, Atiku won Oyo State. In 2023, Wike did not, Imakide did not deliver Oyo to Atiku. He delivered Oyo to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So I didn't mean Imakide is not even a governor. It's possible for Bola Tinubu to reward him as well, maybe as a minister or as an ambassador. So to me, that of Wike is more of a reward of what done for Bola Ahmed Tinubu to 2023 presidential election.
Okay, fine, it's a reward system for him, but do we expect him to put in the work as the Minister of FCT?
Bearing in mind, it's more like a reward.
Absolutely, but okay, fine, we'll understand that Wike is actually, when it comes to the politics, know how to play his game right.
Yes.
But giving him the Minister of FCT, though some people have, majority of people believe, okay, it is fair, it's a fair game, it's rewarding, as you said.
Exactly.
But are we expected to see him perform greatly in this ministry as an assigned?
Yes, Fatima. Yesterday, when I was watching the swearing in, Mr. President, after taking oath of office by all the ministers, when he was addressing them, he said something that's very key, and I quite agree and appreciate him for that. He said that they shouldn't see themselves as a minister of, or maybe minister representing their state, their tribes, their religion, or their ethnic groups, that they should see themselves as a minister of Federal Republic of Nigeria. And he said that he's going to hold them to account, that Nigerians as well will hold them to account. And he described his administration as a vehicle, and he described himself as a pilot of that particular vehicle, and his ministers as passengers. And he said that Nigerians now will hold them to account, that Nigerians are expecting much from them, and they must entrust the confident repose in them to come and serve Nigeria, that they are not coming to serve him, that they are coming to serve the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So we would like to see Wike to develop Abuja the more. You know, Abuja is a seat of power, Fatima, whether we like it or not. In fact, when he was assigned the portfolio, people said that Wike has become a third governor now, Federal Republic of Nigeria now. You know, you've been a governor of Brazil for 2 times. And when you see Abuja, you know, Abuja doesn't have a governor. So we tend to say that whoever becomes the minister of FCT will put in that position as a governor of FCT. So FCT is a big place, Fatima. And when you look at our constitution, you see that the seat of government at the state level, the capital, at the federal level in Abuja, that shall be the power of the Federal Republic, and we're expecting more development in Abuja. Don't forget, when El Rufai was the FCT minister, you know, he transformed. In fact, we call it Baba Bulldozer then. No church the churches that were built on government land, you have to put them down. Even mosques that were built on government land, you have to put them down. And we saw development in Abuja. You see now. So people are expecting Governor Wike to come to Abuja and transform Abuja the more as a seat of power, because Abuja is a signature of the high of everybody. You know, it's a seat of power. When people are talking about the most or the well-developed place in Nigeria, you have to point to Abuja, because we have federal ministries, we have all these embassies and so on and everything in Abuja. So we're expecting Wike to come and transform Abuja the way he transformed Rivers State when he was there as a governor of Rivers State. Now its jurisdiction now will be limited to Abuja municipal. Adimbi was a minister of Niger Delta now, you know, moving from one state. And you know, Wike, you know, I said it here one time that, you know, Wike is a person that if you don't tell him very well, if you ask him to do something, not do it, Wike can go to public. I said, see, people, Fatima said we should do this like this, but and I did not agree with Fatima yourself. But now his jurisdiction now will be within the Abuja municipal. He can't go outside. If you want to go to outside Abuja, just go on fees, because his assignment is within the jurisdiction of the federal capital of Nigeria. So we want to see more development in Abuja. Just the way people are pointing to Washington DC, you see now. So the way people are talking about the other capital of other countries. So we want to see Wike come to Abuja, reform the Abuja, restructure Abuja. Fatima, when you get to Abuja, we still have some, I don't want to cut in the ghetto areas in Abuja, that when you're in that particular place, you'll be telling yourself that you're in Abuja, but you know that no, this place doesn't befit a federal capital territory of Federal Republic. So we want to see more development in Abuja, because we still have some areas that when they tell you that this is Abuja, you won't believe that this is Abuja. There's some people who are living a kind of life that doesn't suit federal capital territory. It's like we still have some areas in Abuja today that they still have bad, deplorable state of roads. water, electricity not there. Because when you're talking about Abuja, we're talking about Maitama, Asokoro, your son now. So we're expecting Wike to come and develop Abuja to make Abuja a standard place to live in Nigeria.
Well, aside from Wike, you know, a lot of controversial portfolios, ministers were assigned portfolios.
Exactly.
Amongst them was also Festus Keyamo, the Minister of Aviation. We all know Festus Keyamo
and aerospace.
I'm telling you, because
now?
Festus has always been a law, has been in the law firm. So why assign to him a portfolio that is completely outside his jurisdiction?
You see, Fatima, there's no how we are going to do it in Nigeria that something like this will not play out. You understand now? Because if you are to say that you fix everybody according to their field, according to their career, it's so that we are going to have problems. But to me, is that it's not only Keyamo. Look at the former governor of Jigawa State to become a minister of defense.
Yeah, we are getting to that.
In fact, to me, I don't really know what happened. Look at former governor of Zamfara State, minister of state of defense. So in the EU of Festus Keyamo, to me, I think people will tell you that as a minister, you are just there to coordinate the activities of that particular ministry. You have administrators there, you have permanent secretary who are in line with that particular ministry. But to me, when you put someone like that there, it is good. It's for him to coordinate. But the question will be, by the time your people in the ministry will tell you that this is how to do it, at what point you yourself will discover that no, we don't need to do it this particular way. You know, that's where professionalism comes in. You guys now, you are in media now. If Ezekiel or if Fatimah should be appointed as a commissioner for information, you know, people in that particular ministry cannot just come and put something on your table. You yourself, you know that no, we don't need to go. But if people like you should go to the Ministry of Agriculture, although you have the capacity, but if people should come at that ministry that no, this is what to do, you know, if you get to a point, you'll be confused because you are not an expert, a professional in that particular. So what I'm expecting people like Keyamo to do now is to work with experts in that particular ministry, whether from that ministry or outside that ministry, that we guide out, that we serve as an advisor, to them, so that by the time anything will come on their table, because as a minister, you'll be a middleman between your ministry and Mr. President, because anything in your ministry, you are going to want to table it before the Mr. President. And if you are not professional, you don't have a well-withal career at that particular ministry, you know, by the time you'll be defending at the Federal Assembly Council, you know, it's important for you to be rolling up because you don't understand that ministry very well. So I'm expecting people like Keyamo now to work with some experts that they are very good as far as aviation is concerned, so that by the time anything put on their table to take to the Federal Assembly Council, they would want to guide them, and that's where the roles of special advisors now comes in to play, because they are special advisor that want to advise you specially. So to me, you know, during the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, Keyamo was Minister of State for Labor, and we don't see much because that activity is more or less taken over by the former governor of Anambra State, Dr. Chris Ngige, because during the negotiation with Labor and so on and so on, it was Dr. Chris Ngige we normally say at the forefront, even with ASU, where Adamu supposed to be negotiating with ASU, it was Dr. Chris Ngige there negotiating, and that's why the experience of being a former governor comes into play, because as a former governor, Fatima, you've sat over ministries, Ministry of Works, Ministry of State in your state, so that experience will come to play by the time you be appointed as a minister of Federal Republic of. That's why you see that no matter how they will do it, former governor cannot become a minister of state. They will give them a substantial ministry to monitor. But with Festus Keyamo, let's see how it will reform our airspace. Let's see how we reform aviation in Nigeria. And I think people say that we should give them around 6 months. Let's see how they will perform. And there must be what we call KPI, Key Performance Index. Let's see, because Nigerians should stand on their necks. Let's see how they will do, how they will perform, and how they will transform each ministry being assigned to these our ministers.
Now, if you take a look at this ministerial list, it has to do with past governors. You said past governors are actually expected to be there.
Exactly.
Based on experience.
Yes.
Well, you said this is more like it's comprised of past governors and allies. Now, you made a good mention of the Ministry of Defense.
Yes.
So, Ministry of Defense at this point, they are not retired generals. They are not into the army.
They don't even have any background.
No idea. And we tried to consider them while they were still governors in the north. forgive me to use this word, but they really had challenges with security.
Obvious.
And I don't know how well they handled it, but some ex-Nigerians will believe they didn't exactly handle it to their best. Although they did it to the best of their own ability, but maybe not to the best of our side per se. What's your take on situation like this? Do you think President Tinubu actually made a wrong choice when it comes to the defense ministry?
Well, Ezekiel, let me start with you of being the former governor. You know, governors will tell you that they are just chief security officer on paper, that they don't control security architecture at their various states. Ezekiel, if you are a governor of your state today, the fact is you can't control the commissioner of police in your state, whether you like it or not. If anything to happen in your state, you direct the commissioner of police, it will say yes, but it will take directive from Abuja. So that's why that you stand. That's why governors are crying for devolution of power. That government should restructure security architecture in such a way that security will be domicile, that they will have the control over security architecture. Now, AU of Minister of Defense, you know, since 1999, we'll be having retired generals handling that particular. It's a sensitive office, because as a Minister of Defense, Ezekiel, you are the one to advise Mr. President. You and the National Security Advisors, you are the one to advise Mr. President on what to do. And in fact, as a matter of fact, all service chiefs that will report to you as a minister, all chief of defense staff, chief of army staff, chief of naval staff, chief of air staff, including the inspector general of police that will report to your office. You are just like the head to them, because anything you are the one to report to Mr. President. But if Mr. President is not convinced along with what you say, that's why Mr. President, that's how you see President convening security chiefs meeting. That okay, Minister of Defense said this, you come and explain. And you discover that anytime we are having meeting with Mr. President is having meeting with service chiefs, you normally see the Minister of Defense there. So I don't know what happened that Mr. President just gave that particular sensitive portfolio to former. In fact, when I was reading or when I was listening to his portfolio, he didn't have anything that has to do with military background. I think he was a financial expert. So the question is, how will we now work effective in that particular ministry? Maybe, like what I said during the Kayamu, maybe he will have some friends who are in military, whether retired or still serving, that will work with him as special advisor. Maybe from external or the security analyst, external or within the system, that will work with him. And look at the Minister of State as well. Governor Bello Matawahi again. I don't know if himself maybe he's have any kind of background has to do with military. I think the answer is no.
At this point, it's safe to say we are back to the road of being hopeful again. At some point, because it's more like we'll be factual at some point, and then go back to the highway of being hopeful.
So to me, I think now they have a big responsibilities on their shoulders, and they must live to that responsibility. And one thing about this is that they should know that this is not President Muhammadu Buhari administration that will allow you to be there for 4 years, whether you are performing or not. So we should be expecting that any minister that did not perform, I think Mr. President should show them the way, because at the seat now, we are battling with a lot of challenges in this country, especially on the security issue. So we need people that will be very proactive. We need people that will understand the system. We need people that will be able to coordinate the system very well in such a way that if anything to happen, they know what to do, they know the step to take, and they know where to go. Not that people that will table something before them and they'll be running after advisors for 3 or 6 months to advise them on what to do. So to me, that ministry did not go down well to me. But Ezekiel, guess what? We have no option.
We have no option. Thank you very much once again, Sam.
Thank you, Ezekiel. Fatimah.
Thank you so much.
Like every other Nigerians, we have been hopeful. Particularly, I've been hopeful. You know, I've been looking forward to this ministerial list.
I've also been hopeful. All Nigerians have been hopeful.
Finally, it's out. They're out, and we really want to see them up and running. You know, making sure everything is in order. And at this point, we'll be handing you over gently to Lagos Studio. We have so much more for you. I remain Ezekiel Ogar.
I am Fatimah Ibrahim. Hi.